So what's going on, guys? The truck guy here. Today we're unboxing and reviewing the Stanley FatMax FMHT 10827 folding fixed blade utility knife. Guys, I just did my best Stanley utility knife video and I got hit up with a comment saying, hey, do the Stanley FatMax folding retractable utility knife. And guys, I hadn't seen this one, so I hunted it down. I hunted this one down. I couldn't find it at Home Depot. I couldn't find it on Amazon. Guys, of all places, I found this at Walmart. So I apologize to my subscribers and the viewers out there that I couldn't put this in my best Stanley utility knife video, and that really just had what's readily accessible, guys. So this one I had to scour, I had to scrape, but I did find it, guys. So the 10827 Stanley FatMax folding retractable, no, not retractable, just folding fixed blade utility knife. This looks like an awesome knife. So guys, let's jump into the video and let's do it. Alright guys, so the Stanley FatMax folding fixed blade utility knife. Let's break into this knife and see what we think, guys. So I'm going to enlist the Husky Classic folding utility knife to get this open. Looks like we've got a blade in there, so they lock it up tight. Stanley locks it up tight for us, guys. They don't want anyone popping out that blade. Let's go ahead and get it out of the packaging. And they're locking that up real tight, guys, so we've got to actually pop open the blade storage, and looks like it's connected to the extra blade in there, or the only blade in there. So let's also take a look at the packaging. So they're hooking us up with one blade, so Stanley is not being overly generous with us, guys. It looks like it's got 3 blade storage, so Stanley's saying we can fit 3 in there, which I think that's plenty on the blade storage side of things, guys. Taking a look at it, it's got the quick change, it's got the thumb ridge, the flip open blade storage, and the tape cutter. We'll take a look at that, and it's saying metal body. And guys, check out my best Stanley utility knife video. I'll link it up below right now. And guys, Stanley is all about the metal body. You don't see really much plastic at all on Stanley utility knives. So we'll set the packaging aside. We'll also get Husky out of the video. Comment down below if you're offended that Husky's in a Stanley video. But guys, we'll set the Husky aside, and right out of the box, guys, it is a little bit on the thinner side. So the Stanley FatMax folding utility knife is a little bit on the thinner side, but guys, this feels good in the hand. I really like that grip up top, so you don't have too much grip, you just have enough grip to kind of, you know, hold it in your palm, and it's really smooth, guys. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from Stanley, and it's got some weight to it, guys. So for a folding utility knife, it's definitely got some heft, it's got some weight, and it definitely feels like some strong metal that they're using. And when you've got that blade, or kind of the blade holder for that matter, extended, there's no wiggle, there's no wobble, guys. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from Stanley. It really flies around the palm, which I'm loving that, guys. If you watch a lot of the truck guy videos, you know that if it flies around the palm like that, you're going to get high reviews. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from Stanley. And guys, we've got the liner lock, and that looks like a really strong liner lock. As I mentioned, no wiggle, no wobble, which is great. But look at how far that liner lock comes over. That's excellent from Stanley. They really knocked it out of the park with that liner lock, so I'm loving what I'm seeing here on this knife. So we'll slide that over, fold it down, and overall I'm liking that. It does stick out a little bit, so if that bugs you on the Huskies, that might bug you a little bit on this knife. And not a super easy one-hand open, but also not bad. I think it will probably loosen up a little bit over time. But let's go ahead and pop this blade out and see what we think. So to access the blade storage, just hit this button underneath. That'll pop up our area, or our blade storage for that matter, to get our blades out. And it looks like 3 is not going to be an issue in there. And it looks like it's also got a tab to keep our blades from rattling around. So I'm liking a lot of the features I'm seeing here from Stanley Fat Max. So we'll close up our blade storage. And this is a really interesting feature, guys. To get our blade in, we actually push forward on this little circular button here, and that pops up the top of the knife here, which is what holds the blade in place. So it looks like we've got a little latch that pops up. If you guys can see that. You roll your finger forward on this button, a latch pops up, and that looks like it slides down into the top of the blade there to hold it in place. So really awesome design there from Stanley. Look at that knife, guys. That's an incredible utility knife. That looks awesome. And with the blade in there, it really kind of balances the knife out in the hand, which is awesome. You know, I don't necessarily love that that button's right where your thumb's going to be. I don't think it's going to be an issue. But that's the only... If you're really pushing down on the knife, that blade could come out. So that is one of the downsides of having that button there, guys. But I don't think it's going to be a big issue for most of the users of this knife. Just make sure you're not, you know, rolling up on this button. I think, you know, it's hard to say if the roll forward or roll back would have been a better design from Stanley. But, you know, it is what it is, guys. You know, I could see some issues with that, but I'm not going to harp on it too much, because overall I'm liking what I'm seeing here from Stanley. But, yeah, if you're holding just above that or just behind, probably just above for comfort, you know, you're not going to see any issues with that. You know, some of the other features, guys, is, as I mentioned, the thumb stud. That's going to probably loosen up a little bit over time. You know, the belt clip, that's actually a really tight belt clip from Stanley. You don't really see that tight of a belt clip from Stanley. It's usually in Milwaukee is where we see the really tight belt clips. So that's intense, guys. You don't see that often from Stanley. Again, you don't see a lot of belt clips on Stanley just because you're going to see more of the fixed body knives from Stanley. But overall, I'm really liking that belt clip, you know, nice and deep. One of the really interesting features on this, guys, is what they call a tape cutter. You know, there's this little tab up top. Probably wondering what the heck is that. I guess it's a tape cutter, so, you know, if you get some packages from Amazon, things of that nature, to run that down through, you know, whatever you've got taped up. You know, guys, I'm not sure about that. You know, it's a nice little addition to have, but when you've got the actual utility knife, again, if you're trying to be delicate, maybe, but I would rather go light with this knife rather than throwing the knife down and trying to run kind of a dull, you know, point or tape cutter through, you know, my box. I think I'd actually tear it up more. So I could see it more for scoring, guys, on a project, something like that, you know, to really just make some quick blunt indentations in the wall, you know, whatever you're doing, you know, kind of marking a point on something. I could see that. being more of the use for this. So I think they should call it, you know, a scoring mechanism, a point, something like that, a tape cutter. Guys, I think Stanley missed the mark on just the naming of that. You know, kind of, hey, what do we do with this? And they went with tape cutter. I think they missed the mark a little bit, but you know, guys, we're not going to fault Stanley. We like Stanley a lot on this channel, and guys, this knife is very nice. I think it really is up there with some of the Stanleys that I've seen. And guys, give me 1 second here. I wanted to pull out the other Stanley Compact, and you can see kind of the difference here. You know, the Fat Max is a little bit bigger than the Stanley Compact, but guys, the Stanley Fat Max feels a lot better in the hand, and I gave this knife really high marks. If you haven't checked out my review on this knife, the Stanley Compact Folding Utility Knife, I'll link it up above here, and you can check that out. This is super compact, but guys, the knife doesn't hold down all that well, which is one of my big criticisms of this knife, is it can kind of fly open on you. Let's check out what the Fat Max has, and let's see if we get an indication on when it's closed. We do get an indication. It doesn't hold down quite as well as, you know, some of the Milwaukees that'll have the press and flip button, you know, to keep it down, to keep it locked down. But guys, there's a nice indication on this Stanley Fat Max. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from Stanley Fat Max. And guys, like I said, I couldn't find this anywhere. I picked it up at Walmart for $8.99. But the caveat, guys, is I had to pay $6.49 in shipping. So, you know, it got up to around the $15 mark. But I really think this is a knife that's worth around that $15 mark. So I think picking this up at Walmart, I'll link it below, I think that's a really good deal. I think you should definitely go out and check out the Stanley Fat Max Folding Utility Knife. I think you're really going to like it. And where would this rank in my best Stanley utility knives? Guys, I think it'd be right up there in probably the top 3. So definitely check out that video, and definitely go pick up the Stanley Fat Max Folding Utility Knife. Especially if you like Stanley and if you like Fat Max, I think this is going to be an awesome knife to pick up. So that's it, guys. Please like, please subscribe, and as always, we'll talk to you on the next video.